Hello and welcome to Ground Control. This is the day that we test fly the XK A430. It lives again. Alright, so what did we do? If you watched the previous video, you know we had all kinds of issues with the stock motor that came with it and the plastic hub that created a severe vibration at above 70% throttle. So what I did was I ordered a RacerStar 1306 3100 kV motor. It's going to run off the exact same battery that it came with, and my additional spare batteries. But what I had to do was I had to extend the existing motor mount, and I wanted to keep the same angle on from the original motor mount. I wanted to keep the exact same angle as it had with the stock motor in it. So what I did was I took a couple pieces of foam, Adam's foam board, removed the paper, sandwiched them together and glued them into the little cradle that's created from the stock motor mount. Fit in there very nice. Everything's fairly secure. Took a small piece of plywood and attached the 1306 3100 kV RacerStar motor. I had to move that out about 8 millimeters from the original mount because the prop hub on the original motor was so long that I had to move the 1306 motor out in order to get the prop cleared from the front of the fuselage. But I got that working. I also tested this motor before I decided to use it for this plane, and I think the original motor that came with it was a 1406, and I believe it was a 2900 kV. This is only a 1306 3100 kV running off the same 2-cell battery with a 5x3 prop instead of a 5x4 prop, which was a stock prop that came on it. And it was creating, I think the thrust on that, if I remember correctly, was about 212 grams, which is a tremendous amount of thrust considering the all-up weight on this plane. I think with its stock was like 98 grams with my little FPV system on it. So even with the motor, the smaller motor pushed out 8 millimeters with the battery in it, I was still able to get the CG correct on it. And I cut the prop down from a 5x4 to a 40-45 prop in order to keep the amp draw down, because I measured the load on this plane with a stock motor and the stock prop, and it was pulling, I think, about 2.91 amps. And I was afraid that the stock speed controller on this plane might only be a 3 amp ESC. I tried to find the specs on it. Cannot find the specs on that speed controller. Even when you look at the replacement speed controller for this plane, it does not give you the amp rating on the speed controller. So I wanted to keep the amount of amp draw on this new motor down around 3 amps because I didn't want to burn up the speed controller. So in order to do that, I had to cut the prop down to a 40-45 from a 50-40, but it still produces, even with the 40-45, it still produces 142 grams of thrust, which I think is going to be about 20 grams more thrust than what the stock motor was producing, even with the 5x4 prop. So that 1406 motor was not producing much torque. I mean, I don't think there was any way it was spinning that 5x4 prop to the kV rating of the motor. So if this works, this is going to be an excellent replacement motor for this plane. You'll have to put a smaller prop on it, but it's still going to produce more thrust than the stock motor did. So this is the day that we take it back out and we fly this baby with the replacement cowling that I had to make for it. I know it's not very pretty, but I think it will be functional. And since I lost the original canopy because the wind ripped it off, the magnets didn't quite hold it down, so I'm just going to rubber band the front of it this time. There's no magnets on the replacement canopy. So let's go out to the field and see how this thing flies with this replacement motor. If this turns out, then I would suggest using this this motor or a very similar motor for a replacement motor for this if you ever need it. Alright, so I'll meet you out in the field. Alright, we have the XK A430 Edge stunt plane. And we have a new motor and a new prop and a new cowling on it. So we're going to see what it's going to do today. We're off! It's definitely speedier. And much quieter. So it looks like this motor and prop combination are working okay so far. Yeah, I like that. Pretty fast. I forgot to set my timer. No, it is. I think it is a lot faster with this motor and prop combination. Man, it's quiet, isn't it? Yeah. Of course, it doesn't have all the vibration in it that it had before. Nice. And then what we're going to do is, hopefully, after 2 repairs, 2 test flights, hopefully this will be the day that I can get a decent FPV flight on it. Let's see what it'll do in manual mode. Do some figure eights here. Sun's starting to peek out of the clouds. It's really cloudy out today. So hopefully you can see this on video. Since it just has a gray background to fly against. I'll make another circuit here and bring it in. Put a new battery in it, put the FPV camera on it, and take it back up. Not too bad. So I'm kind of out of practice. It's been over 3 weeks since I went flying last time. Very cool. It looks like that motor and prop combination are a winner. And so far so good with the plane. So now it's FPV time.
Yeah.
That was fun.